Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. I'm Peter Moxilin, Keeper of the Archives, and oh boy, I am so nervous right now. Hold on, I just noticed that thing was there. There. No, other way. There you go. Great start. Anyway, like I said, I'm Keeper of the Archives. I'll get more into that in a little bit. But before anything else, let's get over to the little slideshow that I made so that we can actually, look at everything that I have to say. And first and foremost, can I just do this? No, I cannot. How does this work again? Oh, shoot. Let me get out of that and click on this. Can I just click? No, I can't. Hold on. Hmm. Oh, it's probably this then. No? Next. There we go. Apologies. First time streamer scuff. Always gotta love it. Anyway, before anything else, I want to make sure to give all the credits for everything. So, my model and all of its rigging is done by... Oh, my apologies. I messed up how I laid out the sheet there. My character sheet here is done by Aurim, and my actual model and rigging is done by Antro. Now, as a quick word of note, I haven't actually heard either of those names said out loud ever before, so if I am mispronouncing them, then my apologies. And let me go ahead and do this just so that that's not annoying me. So you can see my character sheet up here in the upper right corner, and actually you have the full image of that over on my Twitter as well, which is at Peter Moxilin. As for my model, let's go ahead and go back over to this screen. That way I can actually kind of show this off a bit more. So it's this, nope, it's this, yep. So here is just a quick little run through of everything with my model. So there is the front. Can I do this? 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 Come on, there are the controls. So there is a side view. Not gonna lie, got a bit more going on back here than I thought I did originally. We're just gonna move past that though. And, was it this? Nope, it was this, right. And here is the back view. Not a ton going on, but I do like the little gold wave things that are going on there. And back up. And spin. And there are a couple of other things here. For instance, I can take off the cloak, which doesn't actually give a ton more detailing, but it does allow me to show off... Oop, that's zoom. It does allow me to show off there is a little vest tie in the back here. And let's just go ahead and dress the elephant in the room. That my arm is kind of missing. Trust me, you'll get more details on that later. Maybe not in this live stream, but in general, fuck Jeff. Well, you'll get more on that in this live stream, but just in short, fuck Jeff. Likewise with the eye scar up here. God, that was a bad time. Anyway, so that's basically the model. I do like how it turned out. This might seem like a really weird combination of clothes with the flats, the cargo pants into dress shirt and vest with whatever the hell is going up. Is it this? With whatever's going on, whatever the hell is going on with my hair back here. But honestly, there's reasoning. We'll get into that at some point. Yeah, let me drag the window over to the other screen again so I can go back to the slideshow. Okay, so credits out of the way. By all means, commission Antro or Aurim, my apologies, if you have any interest in either character sheets or model rigging, or sorry, model creation, including rigging, because genuinely, I have I think no complaints with either of them throughout this entire process, and this was my first commission of either kind. Sorry, I resized myself a little bit there, because I just noticed that my head might be getting cut off just a little bit at the top. But yeah, I have no issues with either of them, and these were my first commissions for either of their specializations. So, by all means, if you are a first-time commissioner or you have any idea what you're doing, they are just fantastic to work with. Now then, let's go a little bit more into me. So, my general skills, as best I could come up with as I was, like, trying to think of what to fill this slide with, I have 10 years of experience as a singer. Like, not a professional out on the road touring singer or anything like that, but like, from the start of middle school to the end of college, I was in singing classes throughout. So I know how to sing, I know what I'm doing. That being said, I have never been one to be a soloist. I think I had 1 or 2 solos ever, and that was honestly at the very end of high school when it was kind of, well, of course he has a solo, he's one of the seniors. So, moving on. Maybe I'll do karaoke at some point, but that's like, I have to kind of build up my confidence first. Video editing is actually the super interesting one to me here, because that is essentially purely self-taught. Like, technically, during school, I was taught some basic video editing because I went to a school for journalism, so you had to be taught broadcast skills. But honestly, that didn't really teach you a lot of actual how to edit stuff. Like, the kind of editing that I can do nowadays, because I'll get into my own personal history in a little bit, but basically I have a lot more experience now. That is like 99% self-taught now, and I am at like a low professional level of video editing skill. I can't edit the next Marvel movie or something, but I can absolutely edit anything up to and probably including moderately complex music videos or something like that. Now, as a little bit of backstory that I was kind of referencing there, how to put this? This is going to be the first video on this channel. This is my first outing as Peter Moxilin, Keeper of the Archives. It is not my first time on YouTube, though. In total, this is going to be my 4th channel. The first one was honestly just a little bit of a weird experiment that I tried out with a friend. It's whatever, there's maybe 1 video left up after all this time. The second channel was actually a Let's Play channel where I uploaded essentially a video a day. It was technically like 8 videos a week. And all of that was all of that was live commentary, but with post-editing for stuff like sound levels and any kind of interjecting from the editing side. Oh, I remembered this thing. And that's where I got a lot of my actual editing experience. Like, I just kept experimenting on all the different Let's Play episodes and just kind of got a lot more used to handling Premiere and Photoshop and even a bit of After Effects to make the logo animation and such. And to give you an idea of how successful I was at teaching myself a skill there, I have had 2 separate video editing jobs, like professional, I put it on my resume, video editing jobs, because of what I taught myself there. That is all relevant because of some stuff that we'll get to in a little bit. It's a ways down in the slideshow, but we'll get there eventually. Now, I mentioned that I went to school for journalism, and we had to learn some broadcast skills, but I was actually print track, because writing is basically how I express myself. Like, when in doubt, I write a letter or an email or something like that. If I'm trying to think through something, a lot of the time I'll start writing an essay that just goes through the pros and cons and thinks through all of the different tangents of what could happen. So writing is something that I am very comfortable with. On the opposite side of that is coding. Oh boy, coding. Okay, so let me put it this way. I like coding. I know how to code at least some stuff. I have never been fast or good at coding. My God, I suck at it so bad. Oh, God. As a result, though, I would love to learn more, genuinely. And actually, I just realized that I forgot to bring this up when I was talking about the model and everything. But actually, yes, I do have the ability to do this. I can just kind of pop the cloak on and off. Yay, magic cloak. We'll get more into the magic stuff in a little bit. Here's the other preview of the magic stuff, by the way. Yay, glowy eyes. That's gotten a lot easier to do over time. Huh. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so coding, I put it here as a skill because I can literally code. I have made web scrapers in Python like 3 times, relearning even the basics of Python each time. But I'm not actually good at it. Memory is probably the most like ambiguous, highfalutin thing on this list because it's so weird to feel like I'm bragging about it. But yeah, my memory has always been super good. I am dog shit at remembering people, but for like facts, stuff I've learned, stuff that I got taught in a classroom, I have like borderline photographic memory for that. Like there is stuff that I can bring up from my classroom days that is just even I don't know why or how I remember that. Y'all remember that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I remember how biomagnification works and transcending the layers of sediment or whatever the hell. I forgot the exact word in that moment. Anyway, let's just move on to the next slide since I kind of just defeated my own purpose there. Okay, so I mentioned that I was Keeper of the Archives. Here's where I'm going to try to explain what the hell that means, because obviously no one knows what the archives are. So, this honestly starts a little bit sad. My apologies. I was just kind of unemployed, depressed, laying around in my apartment. And then, like, there was a ton of construction noise because they're making a new apartment building nearby. And just to get the hell away from everything for a moment, honestly, I decided to actually just go take a walk to... I didn't even have an actual goal. I think that maybe I intended to go to the local park, but I don't actually know if we have a local park to where I am. Anyway, I walked a little bit, and I actually did find at least a kind of green area, and there was like this brick structure. It's not quite a building exactly, but it's just like a structure with stairs leading down. And to cut a long story short, because I'll probably tell the fully detailed backstory sometime in the future, that was the entrance down into the archives. What are the archives? Again, to cut it very short, as best I can tell, it is this archaic structure that has existed for seemingly all of human civilization that seems to just preserve all of human knowledge and or culture. I'm not totally sure how it distinguishes between the two. And from some stuff that, oh boy, it's not going to be in this presentation, but I'm sure they'll give you some recordings or something later. I now know that there is actually an unbroken chain of keepers stretching back for assumedly all of human history, or all of human civilization at the very least, if not human history. And it's essentially each keeper selects a successor, and then that creates this unbroken chain of people who both maintain the archives and bring new knowledge into it. Why all this exists, I think is supposed to be something of a doomsday scenario. Like, if civilization falls, if humanity goes into dark times, then the Keeper can emerge and bear with them all the knowledge necessary to rebuild, or something like that. Is that actually what it's there for? I hope so. Because if not, then I got nothing. Eh. All I know is that this is basically a super ancient magical library that I have learned to take some of the power from in order to recreate my arm, make my eyes glow, etc. So, I'm okay with staying here, especially given the current state of the world. Yeah, I'm good to stay pretty far underground given how things currently are. That gets depressing super fast. Let's just move on. Okay. I started to touch on that last one, learning, a little bit earlier, but in general, I can really break down my likes into these four categories: games, anime, space, learning. Give me any of those four, and I will just sit there content all day. Games are probably my primary hobby. Like, honestly, anime tries to take its place sometimes, especially if I'm really burnt out, low energy or such. But if I have the energy to play, then I go to my PC to go play a video game. Or I find a mobile game on my phone. We'll get more to that in a little bit. Etc., etc. Gaming is just what I do. Now, anime, like I said, is kind of the next contender. I don't want to go into the details too much, but I have actually been employed to write about anime. So I have just. That is a great little synergy of skill and desire right there. But in general, I am trying to keep up with the seasonal anime. I'm not watching everything by any means, but let's say 3 shows per season or something. We're currently at the tail end of the spring 2022 season, and I've kept up with Kaguya since that show's in its final season and it's about to have its finale, and Spy Family because it's such a highly anticipated show, and they're both really good. Like, just look online for anyone talking about them, and everyone loves it. I gave a couple of other shows a couple of episodes, but then that just kind of fell off over time because I just had so much stuff to do with this debut and just getting everything prepped and everything. Along with, I actually got COVID about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I believe, or maybe a little bit longer. But like, I've been recovering from that because I don't really have a lot of long-term symptoms, but to be totally frank, my memory has been impacted, and I've been a bit worried about that. That's a bit too heavy for an initial debut presentation, though, so Spy Family, really good. I don't love it as much as I thought I would, but I'm definitely enjoying it. Kaguya, somehow it just keeps getting better. I love that show. Other stuff that I gave a shot to. Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie. I genuinely was enjoying it, but I find it more to be kind of a comfort popcorn food kind of show. It's not something where I want to invest a lot of time or energy, but like, if I have nothing else to do, then I'm okay to go watch it. The other one is, what was it? What was it called again? Like, I know in general the name, but it got translated to something completely different. It's like The Assassin and Her Way of Life, I think, is the English title. The Japanese title is something something no Virgin Road. So I'm pretty sure they didn't translate that exactly. So, okay, so that's the one I meant to press. Good to know. Anyway, but yeah, I actually gave that show a couple of episodes when my sister was visiting for the holidays a little while back, and honestly, I was a little bit too critical of it at the time. Honestly, I quite liked it and have been meaning to go back to it. It seems like a really interesting concept, and I really hope that it has been going well. Given that I dropped it, I'm not holding out a ton of hope for a season 2, but I hope. I would like to see a season 2 of that based on what I originally saw. Now, the odd one out here. Space. Pretty sure there's an entire slide for this later. I like space. I really like space. Give me all of your space stuff. Your news, your games, your information. Just give me everything. I want to know about space. I have entire anecdotes about this to show how absurd this is, but in short, Expect a lot of space from me. It's gonna be a bit of a theme. And finally, learning. This is something that I touched on earlier with the whole memory thing, but I just genuinely enjoy learning, just as an overall concept. It is something that I just, whenever someone talks to me about a thing they are passionate about in an attempt to teach me something, I am all in with that. I love that. I hate the American educational system because it very much teaches to the test, which, in my opinion, the test is the halfway point. It is after you get the test back, you then know what you can improve on. But that is a bit more than I should probably go into right now. This is supposed to be Peter gives his general first impressions, not Peter rants about the American educational system. Again. Now, I'm pretty sure these next slides are basically breaking down these four in a bit more detail. Oh no, it's heights first. Oh look, Peter gets to rant more at the very end. Okay, so, things that I dislike. Heights. I have never been good with heights at all. And by the way, as a quick aside here, if you're hearing my voice crack every once in a while, it's because I kind of shredded my voice over the past, 3 days or something. So, I have some tea here. I'm actually going to take a sip right now. Oh, thank God. Liquid. Anyway, but yeah, so my voice is not currently at 100%, so hopefully it doesn't get too bad. Anyway, yeah, heights. I have just always disliked heights. I cannot even be, on a ladder. If I'm more than, 2 or 3 feet off the ground, I am very uncomfortable. And honestly, I've never even had a great reason why. It's just something that I have never liked. I don't have good reasoning on that. It just is. Next up is horror. I'm sure that there is horror out there that I can enjoy. It is such a wide range of stuff that just, surely there's something. But, nah, thus far, I don't expect a lot of scary games from me or watch-alongs of horror movies or anything like that. Let me put it this way. If I accidentally scare myself with just some thought that I have, it is possible that I will lose sleep over that for a night or two. I am a little baby back bitch when it comes to scary stuff. Do not test that, it will work. Trust me. Third is Jeff. Fuck Jeff. I mentioned Jeff earlier. One of the things that I glanced over when it came to the archives is that I'm not exactly the only one here. I mean, I kinda am, I guess. There are other things here that I've taken to referring to as shades. They're essentially living shadows, and a lot of them have no issue with me. There's construction shade, child shade, upstairs neighbor shade, etc. I don't know why they do what they do, but they seem pretty chill to just let me do my thing. Cool. Then there's Jeff. Jeff was originally referred to as the attack shade. Jeff is the reason I have this scar on my eye and am missing half an arm. I do not like Jeff. Anyway, and then finally, because I wanted to fill out the slide a little bit more and not have it end on such a serious note, the US job market. Just fuck the US job market so much. God, this country has issues. Moving on again. So, stuff you can expect from me. As you might be able to expect from my various likes, Let's Plays / gaming, that kind of thing, definitely expect it a lot. That's gonna be the standard what I am putting up for live streams in general. Expect it to be 70% gaming, I would guess. I don't have the numbers actually worked out, but it's gonna be a lot of games. I say 70% though, because another 20% or so is probably going to be anime stuff. I would love to do a ton of watch-alongs with everyone. I just need to, like, figure out how to do that, because I don't exactly have a lot of backgrounds to work with, so I kind of need to make one or two before I can really have a watch-along standard background. To give you an idea, by the way, just to kind of rip this band-aid off, to give you an idea of my own artistic skills with making these backgrounds, the one you're currently on here, like I've denoted it as the debut slideshow or something like that. The presentation space is what it's technically called. I actually like how this turned out, kind of reminiscent of a book, like my transition, like it has decent texturing on the cover. The pages are not quite what you would expect from actual pages, but it works with having a bit of more of an abstract presentation thing. Uh, that's nice for the sake of it being, like, good and abstract and such, but, let me take you over to my room. I've shown this to 2 people, and they both responded with, in short, "Wow, looks like you spruced up your Minecraft room nicely." Yeah, so, I'm gonna go ahead and just do this really quickly. Now I'm less embarrassed. Yay. Look, I'll spruce it up over time. I'll make it have a better visual presentation. For now, just think of my room as being under construction or something. Uh, I'm not an artist. There's a reason I got someone. There's a reason I commissioned someone to make the model for me. Anyway, but yeah, so need some work before I have the stuff ready for an anime watch along. But I'm absolutely all for doing that. I honestly, maybe a couple of days at the start of each season, do a watch along of episode 1 of every show. Like, don't cram it all into one stream, but make it like a week-long event or something? That could be a thing. I literally just thought of that in the moment. I'll need to give it some more thought. Anyway, science news. This is one of the kind of unique ones that I'm really interested in, actually, because I've always loved space and even just science in general. What I really want to have happen is I want to make a weekly show that rounds up basically all the astronomy news for the week. I know it's listed as science news here, it's more likely to be astronomy news. But that just helps me to keep up my writing, keep up my video editing, keep up my research so that I'm kind of science literate, and I get to communicate all of the latest astronomy stuff to all of you. Honestly, I see no downside there, and I really like it as an idea. Now, the next one, learning, is the one where I have the least idea of what I'm doing, because my overall idea is that I want it to be very much an everyman approach to learning. I don't want this to necessarily be, hey, I spent a year learning how to video edit, here's a tutorial on what I've learned. Make no mistake, I want to do that as well, like that specific one, because I think I can teach people some stuff. But in general, what I actually want to do in terms of my learning content is that I want to take a skill that I have zero idea about. Like, I want to take, let's pick something here, and I'm looking at a lamp right now, so electrical wiring. And I want to have my learning live stream be me learning electrical wiring from the position of someone who has never even touched the subject before. That way, anyone who's watching along, they are at best going to be more knowledgeable than me, and at worst going to be at that same level where we're learning along with each other. The issue there is that I'm not sure that makes for actual engaging content for everyone, so I might need to kind of work on the actual presentation of that. We'll see how that goes. I definitely want to have those kinds of skill acquisition learning type live streams though. And finally, on the content that I really want to put up is exploration. Now let me explain that a little bit. When I say exploration, I don't mean like going out into the neighborhood or something. Keep in mind, I'm not at my apartment anymore. I'm actually living down here in the archives. For me, exploration is going and exploring parts of the archives I haven't seen before. Now, some of it is quite dangerous. I don't know where Jeff is, for example. It just kind of pops up wherever. But there's a lot of weird shit down here. Like, oh boy, there's a lot. Anyway, but yeah, so I already have a decent number of recordings, actually, because I've been at this for a while. I don't know when those are going to start going up, because I need to kind of... I just have them on my recorder. I don't have them edited or anything, and I want to make them, like, presentable. But we'll see how that goes. It's something that I want to do, but I'm not entirely sure how it's going to be implemented. Next slide. So, now we're on to the various likes that I had and breaking them down a little bit more. So when it comes to games, I do play a lot of games, but honestly, I've always been much more single-player focused. I've never really gotten into multiplayer games. I would say that probably Escape from Tarkov is the most multiplayer I ever went into. And even then, Escape from Tarkov, you can basically play it single player. I might play it on the channel later. Need to kind of think that through a little bit more. It's been a while since I played, and oh boy, do you not want to be a new player in a late game session of Tarkov. You will lose. Trust me. But in terms of stuff that I actually am playing, have played, like playing, etc., the other three are honestly more kind of categorical examples. They aren't necessarily supposed to be the end-all be-all. So Mass Effect is kind of the representative of more the AAA game space and also space games. Because again, space. I like it. But yeah, in general, I do really like the high production value of AAA games, but I do also fully, readily accept that, to put it mildly, if you have a AAA game company at this point in time, I just kind of assume that there's some backroom shenanigans going on. Like, at best, extorting your players for money. At worst, let's just say allegations of a criminal nature. Moving on. But as a result, I do intend to play various AAA games. I do not intend for them to be endorsements of the company necessarily. And that is a tricky path to walk that I might end up changing how I feel about it over time. For now, we're just going to move on, though. Fire Emblem, I don't mean a specific game there, I mean the franchise. Fire Emblem's actually one of the first games I ever played, and as a result, I've always just been in love with the franchise. I haven't even played some of the later games, even though I own them. But the big thing here is more that it's supposed to be exemplary of the kind of more strategic style of gameplay, like turn-based, grid tiles, literally strategy games. Like, I could replace that with XCOM if Mass Effect wasn't taking up the AAA slot already. And then, FGO. So, for those of you who don't know what FGO is, now's your time to get out, because you're not going to have time later. Fate Grand Order, FGO, the Fate franchise mobile game. Yes, I play a lot of gacha games. Currently, in terms of me being a daily player, like logging on and doing stuff every day, I would say FGO, Genshin Impact, and Princess Connect Redive. Magia Record is also in there in that I literally play it every day, but I'm kind of hot and cold on that. It kind of depends on the week whether I'm actually playing it actively or not. But yeah, so expect some gacha content. I don't have a lot of plans at the moment, but just expect it. As for anime, like I said, I already play Fate Grand Order, so you could probably expect that I like Fate. And that is true. Fate isn't necessarily the best franchise ever. Like, take any individual example of something from Fate, and it's not necessarily going to be great, but it is fun on average. Madoka actually part of the reason why I like it so much is because it came at a super good time in my life. Like, it came at a time when I had a bunch of friends who were also really into anime, and I could talk to them about the show, and they actually, like, could talk back to me about it. They wouldn't just go, oh yeah, it sounds cool. But also, for some of my own fiction writing, by pure coincidence, like, I swear that this was just happenstance, the magic system in Monica actually lines up really well with my own magic system. So that's just always been a super cool detail in my mind. And yes, I am looking forward to Monica Valpurgis Revolution, although I am also terrified because, well, let's be real, they fucked up Rebellion pretty badly, so Assassination Classroom is one of those shows where I can't say that it's the best show ever or anything, but my god, is it fun. Is there any other show that I can easily think of where they got you to care about around 20 different characters over the course of a single show, like a single 52 episode show? And honestly, even just 52 episode shows are pretty rare now. But, like, sure, every character in Assassination Classroom does not get the same amount of screen time. I'm not going to try to argue that. But my god, when I've gone back and rewatched the show, which I've done like 3 or 4 times at this point, whenever I go back, I always love seeing all these characters. They were all there at the beginning, and then each and every one of them, a couple significantly less than others, get their own screen time. That is just super awesome to see. Like, they actually fleshed out even those characters that seemed like they were just going to be background characters. And in general did end up being background characters, but hey, whatever. And then there's Made in Abyss. God damn, I love Made in Abyss. It has issues. Look, there is stuff in that show that if you don't agree with it, I totally get it. You are totally fine to just turn around and walk away. If you make it past that stuff, because everyone knows what that stuff is, if you get past that, then there is such an interesting world and story to be had there. Like, holy shit, I actually don't even want to talk about it that much because I want people to experience it for the first time. You just have to get past all of the children. Yeah, next slide, because I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, like I said, space. Just anything space. Give me space. I do not care what it is. Give me space. That's it for that slide. Just expect a lot of space stuff from me, okay? And I already kind of went through the basic version of this, but in general, I want to learn skills from scratch with everyone. The only kind of sort of differences would be for instruments, like I have guitar listed there, languages, kind of sorta, because that might be from scratch, and programming is a maybe in general because I suck at it so bad, but if I want to learn stuff, then honestly that's not a bad one to learn. Let me take a sip of tea here really quick. Gotta make sure to keep my throat lubricated. Yeah, so in general, my learning stuff isn't quite completely solidified, but I have an idea of what I want to do. Now, I tried to think of some goals that I actually want to do, and look, cards on the table here. I want to treat this channel as my own personal art project or something. Like, I'm very much taking that from MDB, Madrybread, with his channel, because his channel was honestly the last thing that really got me to start getting into YouTube. Like, just seeing him just being himself and gaining an audience through that. That's basically what I want to do here. Sure, I want to have some goals in place that I know what to do, but honestly, in general, I kind of just want to make what I feel like making, and if it works out, cool. If not, then you're free to leave the channel. I genuinely wish you the best of luck. But in terms of actual goals that I have, I want to promote critical thinking. That might sound a bit on the highfalutin side, but genuinely, what I try to do when I'm playing games or such is actually analyze them. I try to understand why things work the way they do, what the reasoning was to create that system, etc., etc. And that is all rooted in the idea that I want to critically think about stuff, and I want to pass on that idea to everyone who watches me. Don't just accept everything when you first hear it, and don't just reject everything because it's from a viewpoint that you don't like. Actually take it in, process what is being said, and give some thought to it. So I hope to be kind of an example of that to follow. On the more lighthearted side, I would love to stream every day. Given that my voice is already on the weaker side because of all the stuff I did in the past couple of days, I kind of doubt that's going to happen. But I would love to stream every day if I at all can. Now, in general, given my current schedule with everything, like the time it takes to do my explorations and all that kind of stuff, realistically, my actual streaming time would probably be starting at 7 p.m. EST. Whatever that converts to in your time zones, it is the time zone I work in, so it is the time zone I understand. In general, my kind of idea then is 7 to 9 p.m. EST every day is the ideal, because 2 hours of streaming per day might already be too much for my voice, but based on my previous recording for my other YouTube channel that I was doing for a year, an hour and a half of straight recording never bothered me. Getting above 2 hours is where I started to need to take a bit of a rest. So 2 hours of streaming every day maybe is possible on my voice, maybe is possible in terms of my work schedule. I want to do it. Let's see if it actually works out or not. And then finally, I want to collab with just others. I genuinely do not have much idea of who I would want to collab with at this point because, I mean, I'm a 0 subscriber channel. What the hell do you expect? I mean, sure, I want to collab with Nina Kosaka of Niji Sanji and Monarch, the independent VTuber that Amanda Lee has. Or hell, just go all the way and say I want to collab with, like, I don't know, Oro Crony from Hololive or something. Cool. Good luck. For now, though, it's just like, you know what? I play a lot of single-player games, so this is already going to be a bit of a stretch to begin with, but in general, I do want to collab with others. So, if you're a channel out there who you're kind of friendly with me, or you think you like the stuff I do, by all means, hit me up. I don't quite know how you would contact me, but I guess Twitter DM or something is going to be the easiest. But just hit me up. I'm totally down to collab, and I don't exactly have a really set schedule at the moment, or really set schedule as in what I'm playing at the moment anyway, so hey, I'm down. Basically just make sure that it's not horror and I'll be okay. Now, as for some tags, since I do tend to use Twitter as my main platform outside of live streaming on YouTube, if you have other ideas, please come up with, just, like, message me or something. Respond to this stream, I guess. Because I spent so long thinking of these, and I still cannot think of more. Like, I suppose I could do a Moxilin or something for a live stream, but I don't feel like I really need a live stream tag, since, like, just putting I'm live in the stream header, like in the tweet, seems like it should work. I kind of trust people to understand without a hashtag there. But yeah, to just go through it very quickly, for just general stuff, you just want to have me included in whatever, hashtag Peter Moxilin. For art stuff, the archives. By the way, yes, I did try just archives and archive and stuff like that. Everything except from the archives was pretty well taken. Even the archives has a little bit of stuff in it, just nothing for like the past decade. Not safe for work, because I know there's going to be some of you out there. Moxilin with 3 X's. Hey, I want to see it. It's not necessarily what I'm into, but I am interested. For clips, clip kives. Maybe for consistency, I should have done the clip kives, but I want to keep it a bit shorter. And then for any memes, you got Moxilin. Because I have a very limited sense of what I can actually make, or what I can actually think of for puns. Anyway, that is actually the end of the slideshow, so let me go ahead and just think for a moment on what else might be worth bringing up, just because general stuff that VTubers make in terms of content creation. I have already mentioned all of the video games, the anime watch-alongs, what was the other one? Right, skill acquisition I mentioned. ASMR is probably the one that I'm missing, and that's just because I've never really gotten into ASMR, so I'm not really knowledgeable about it. I don't know how to make it good, and I don't know what makes it good. So I don't know how to make a good ASMR stream as a result. Aside from that, I do intend to make a standard image for my scheduling and for the My Room setting and all that kind of stuff. It's just that I am not an artist at all. So just getting all of this stuff at the ready, just initially, that was already very much testing the limit of my skill. But at the same time, to kind of give you an idea of how I think, who I am, that kind of stuff, I knew that I needed to commission the character reference sheet that's on my Twitter and you saw earlier in the slideshow. And also, I needed to commission the 3D model because no way in hell am I doing this on my own. Like, dear God, I cannot do that. But stuff like this current background, I didn't know how to do it a week ago, but I taught myself Photoshop enough to be able to do it. And I realized by doing that, along with like making the slideshow and making the couple of other things that like the My Room, as much as it sucks, I realized that I really like that feeling of just making it myself. I need to commission some stuff because it's just way too out of my skill set to be able to do reasonably. But that kind of hooks back into my whole I like learning. I also like just doing, because that is a form of learning to me, because it's just, you're learning, it just happens to be very hands-on. Yeah, so for now, given that my voice is still on the tired side, I'm going to go ahead and opt to not do a follow-up live stream tonight, so that instead I can just kind of rest my voice up. Let's see, tomorrow I actually am likely going to have some company over, but after that, I believe I should be back on my normal schedule again. And so, by the way, me having company over, aka time to go back up the stairs. It's so many stairs to get to my apartment. Dear God. Anyway, but once that's through, then I should be back on my normal schedule. And so 7 to 9 p.m. EST. Currently, I'm thinking that we are going to be starting either on Mass Effect 1 with a full randomizer mod, because Mass Effect isn't actually that difficult to play through. So I want to play it with like random mods as in the game mods, armor mods, weapon mods, that kind of stuff. Random mods, random weapons, random crewmates assigned to each mission, etc., etc. And I know there is a mod for Mass Effect 1 and 2 that does randomizers, so I have to look into how to actually install that. But either starting on Mass Effect, Fire Emblem 7, which was the first Fire Emblem game released in the US, or, what was the other one again? Right, or Assassin's Creed. Because Assassin's Creed is actually another one of those franchises that's really near and dear to me. Ubisoft is one of those companies that is, in trouble at the moment, so if I do play Assassin's Creed, know that it is not designed as an endorsement of the company, though yes, it means that I will have had to pay the company, aka allow them to profit from me in order to play the game. I don't like it, but it is how things work. So, in all likelihood, starting on Mass Effect then. Ugh. The is not because I dislike Mass Effect, it's because I dislike that I have to give that kind of caveat to Assassin's Creed. But yeah, oh, and actually, as a quick little thing, just to kind of explain why a little bit, not the allegations, but the game choices. I really like the idea of using an entire game franchise to show the evolution of a set of ideas. So Assassin's Creed is going to be the standout of those three in that respect, because going from Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is the newest at the moment, those games are not the same. They are barely even worth sharing the same name. Meanwhile, Fire Emblem 7 to Fire Emblem, what's like 15 or something is the newest one. Yeah, whatever. We're on Three Houses as the most recent release. Well, technically Three Hopes releases in 4 days, I think, as of this live stream. But realistically, the last main line was Three Houses. Going from Fire Emblem 7 to Fire Emblem Three Houses, also just totally different games, but I view that much more as a bit of a time capsule showcasing how norms have changed over time. And that's something that I'm super interested in exploring. And then Mass Effect is space, so I want to play it. I'm not going to shut up about space. I love it. But yeah, so I'm sure that there is a ton of stuff that I'm missing and I'll think about in post. Go check my Twitter at Peter Moxilin if you want to have whatever my latest up-to-date thoughts are, or if you have any questions or anything. By all means, reach out to me. I want to be a very approachable guy, even if this is way in the future and I've miraculously gotten a couple of subscribers at some point. Yeah, so that is it. I've been Peter Moxilin, Keeper of the Archives. I hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day, and I hope that you come back to one of my future live streams when I have some idea of what I'm doing. See you in the next one. Bye.